We begin with a question. Who is it that wants to win? When you say, I want to win, who is the I that is speaking? Is it the calm, quiet awareness that observes the world, or is it a noisy, anxious voice in your head? A voice that was constructed piece by piece from the expectations of others, from the trophies on other people's shelves, from the fear of being seen as a failure. This voice, this construction is the ego, and the ego's game is the only game you can truly lose. It craves validation. It needs to prove its worth by dominating something external. It ties your entire sense of self to a scoreboard, a promotion, a number on a scale. And this makes your peace incredibly fragile. It means your happiness is not your own. It's on loan from the outcome. If you win, you get a temporary hit of relief, of validation, but it fades and the hunger returns, demanding another victory to feel whole again. If you lose, it's not just a loss in a game. The ego takes it as a personal annihilation. It whispers to you that you are not good enough, that your effort was worthless, that you are a fraud. This is the cycle of suffering that the world incorrectly calls ambition. The art of winning begins with refusing to play this game. It begins with unchaining your sense of self-worth from the result of any single contest. You are not the voice that screams for victory. You are the silent presence that hears the scream. Your task is not to fuel that screaming voice, to give it more reasons to be loud. Your task is to quiet it, to observe it with detachment, as you would observe a cloud passing in the sky. When you step onto the field, into the gym, or into the boardroom, you must leave that fragile, needy I behind. You are there to perform an action, to engage in a process. You are not there to validate a story you've told yourself about who you are. The moment you need the win to feel good about yourself, you have already introduced a fatal weakness into your system: fear. Fear of losing. And fear is the mind killer. It tightens muscles. It clouds judgment. It makes you rush when you should be patient. True winning requires a state of inner peace, a state of profound okayness with any outcome. This isn't weakness or a lack of desire. It is the ultimate source of strength. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing that your value as a human being is not on the line. It is unconditional. When you operate from this state of unshakable inner calm, you are free. You are free to take risks, to be creative, to perform with a beautiful, unburdened grace. You are no longer fighting a war on two fronts, one against your opponent and a much more brutal one against your own inner critic. You are whole. You are present. And from that state of presence, victory often arises as a natural, effortless consequence. Silent discipline. There are two types of effort. There is loud effort and there is silent effort. Loud effort is performative. It needs an audience. It posts about the grind. It tells everyone how early it woke up. It wears its exhaustion like a badge of honor. It is fueled by the ego's desire to be seen as someone who is working hard. This kind of effort is brittle. It depends on external energy, on likes, on comments, on praise from a coach or a boss. When the applause fades, so does the motivation. It is a fire that needs constant fuel from the outside, and it will eventually burn out, leaving behind a pile of ash and a sense of resentment, because the validation it received was never enough to fill the inner void. Silent effort is different. It is invisible. It is done in the dark, in the quiet moments when no one is watching. It is the extra set after your training partner has gone home. It is the hour of study after the house has gone to sleep. It is the refusal to cut a corner that no one would ever know you cut. Silent effort is not done for an audience. It is a private conversation between you and the process. It is an act of integrity. It is driven by a deep internal commitment to mastery for its own sake. It is not about proving anything to anyone. It is about becoming something. It is a slow, steady, inexorable force, like a river carving its way through a canyon. It doesn't rush. It doesn't announce its presence. It simply applies consistent, gentle pressure, and over time, it reshapes the landscape. This is the discipline that builds champions. It is the discipline that forges an unbreakable will, because it is not dependent on mood or motivation or whether you feel like it today. It is a choice that you have made, a promise you have kept to yourself. Each time you choose the silent, unseen path of discipline, you are casting a vote for the person you wish to become. You are laying another brick in the foundation of your character. This foundation is not built with the spectacular one-time feats of Herculean effort that everyone cheers for. It is built with the thousands of small, unglamorous, consistent choices that no one ever sees. This is why you must fall in love with the boredom of consistency. The world sells you highlight reels, but life is lived in the unedited footage. It is lived in the monotonous, repetitive, and often uninspiring daily practice. The athlete does not become great during the 90 minutes of the game. They become great in the thousands of hours of drills, conditioning, and preparation. The artist does not become great when the painting is unveiled. They become great in the countless strokes, the discarded sketches, the lonely hours spent facing a blank canvas. To win, you must find the beauty and the meditative peace in the repetition. You must learn to derive satisfaction not from the finish line, but from the rhythm of your own steady, silent footsteps on the path. Embracing resistance. We are taught to see resistance as an enemy, a wall, something to be broken through with brute force. We tense our muscles, we clench our jaw, and we declare war on the thing that stands in our path. But this is a profound misunderstanding of the nature of energy and the nature of growth. The weight on the bar is not your enemy, it is your partner. It is the very thing that signals to your muscles that they must adapt, that they must become stronger. Without the resistance of the weight, the muscle would have no reason to grow. It would remain weak, comfortable, and unchanged. The resistance is not blocking the path, it is the path. The opponent across the field is not there to defeat you, but to reveal you, to show you the weaknesses in your strategy, the gaps in your focus, the flaws in your preparation. They are a mirror reflecting your current state of being. To hate your opponent is to hate the mirror that is showing you the truth. A worthy opponent is a gift. They force you to transcend your previous limits. They demand a version of you that is sharper, smarter, and more resilient. The difficult project at work is not a punishment. It is a crucible designed to forge a new level of competence within you. To see resistance as something to be hated is to waste the most valuable gift the universe can offer you, a chance to evolve. The art of winning lies in changing your relationship with this resistance. Instead of meeting it with tension, you meet it with a kind of yielding curiosity. Like water, water does not fight the rock, it flows around it. It finds the path of least resistance, not out of weakness, but out of intelligent adaptation. Or over millennia, it patiently wears the rock down. It does not strain, it does not rage, it simply applies itself. When you face an obstacle, the first reaction of the ego is to tense up, to create friction. The practice is to notice this tensing and consciously choose to relax into the problem, to breathe, to observe it without judgment, to ask, what is this here to teach me? This mindset transforms everything. The frustration of a failed lift in the gym is no longer a sign of failure. It is simply information. It says, perhaps the form needs adjustment, perhaps the body needs more rest. The anger at a setback in your career is no longer a moment of despair. It is a signal to pivot, to learn a new skill, to rethink your approach. You begin to see every challenge not as a threat to your ego, but as a curriculum designed specifically for your own growth. You start to almost welcome the friction, the difficulty, because you understand on a deep level that it is the only thing that creates polish. A diamond is just a piece of coal that handled pressure exceptionally well. Do not curse the pressure. It is the force that is trying to reveal the diamond within you. Process perfection. Imagine two archers. The first archer steps up to the line, and his entire focus is on the target. His mind is filled with the image of the bullseye. He thinks about the glory of hitting it and the shame of missing it. He thinks about what the other archers will say. His desire for the outcome, for the arrow to land perfectly, creates a tremor in his hand. His breath is shallow. His mind is in the future, at the target, and not in the present moment, on the bowstring. He is tight, anxious, and distracted. He lets the arrow fly, and its path is uncertain. It is a slave to his emotional turbulence. The second archer steps up to the line. He acknowledges the target, but his focus is not there. His focus is entirely on his process. He feels the texture of the bow in his hand. He pays attention to the placement of his feet on the earth, feeling his connection to the ground. He focuses on the smooth, deliberate motion of drawing the bowstring back. He feels the tension build in his shoulders and back. He concentrates on his anchor point, the familiar touch of the string to his cheek. His entire universe is reduced to the physical sensations of this single moment. He is not thinking about the bullseye. He is not thinking about winning or losing. He is absorbed in the perfection of the act itself. He is in love with the process of shooting the arrow. His mind is quiet. His breath is deep and steady. Because he has let go of the outcome, he is free from the fear of failure. He has achieved a state of effortless action. He releases the bowstring and the arrow flies true, not because he willed it to, but as a natural, inevitable consequence of a perfected process. This is the secret. This is what it means to be in the zone or to find a state of flow. The victory is not in hitting the target. The victory was in the perfect execution of the drawing of the bow. Hitting the target is just the echo of that victory. This is the mindset that separates the good from the truly legendary. You must stop chasing the result. The result is not under your control. There are too many variables: the wind, the actions of your competitors, luck, the judgment of others. To attach your piece to the result is to build your house on shifting sand. You must shift your entire focus to the one thing you can control: the process, your preparation, your technique, your focus in this present moment. Did you do the research? Did you put in the reps? Did you execute the current step with total presence and excellence? That is all that matters. You must find more satisfaction in a perfectly executed practice session than in a sloppily won game. When you can honestly say that you love the process more than the prize, you will have unlocked the door to consistent high performance. The prize becomes a byproduct, a pleasant surprise, but not the source of your fulfillment. Your fulfillment comes from the knowledge that you gave your absolute all to the moment, to the craft. This is a much more stable and sustainable source of motivation. It doesn't burn out. It doesn't depend on anyone else. It is a deep, quiet, powerful well of energy that you can draw from every single day, regardless of the external circumstances. Perfect your process and the results will take care of themselves. Observing defeat. Defeat will come. It is not a possibility, it is a certainty. No one, no matter how great, goes undefeated forever. The most important question is not whether you will lose, but how you will lose. The ego experiences defeat as a death. It screams, it rages, it blames. It blames the referees, the weather, your teammates, your own perceived inadequacies. It replays the moment of failure over and over, each time deepening the wound, reinforcing the narrative of "I am not good enough." This is the path to ruin. It creates a trauma around failure that makes you afraid to take risks in the future. It makes you play to not lose, rather than playing to win. The master, however, experiences defeat differently. For the master, defeat is not a judgment. It is data. It is a lesson delivered in the clearest possible language. When the ego is silent, you are able to look at the loss with the dispassionate curiosity of a scientist. You can sit with the footage of the game or the results of the project and simply observe. Ah, the master thinks, here. In this moment, my focus lapsed. My preparation was insufficient in this specific area. My opponent exploited this weakness that I did not even know I had. There is no self-flagellation. There is no shame. There is only observation, analysis, and learning. This is the alchemy of turning loss into fuel. A defeat, when viewed without the distortion of ego, is more valuable than a dozen easy victories. An easy victory teaches you nothing. It reinforces your existing habits, both good and bad. But a loss is a map. It shows you exactly where the edges of your current capabilities are. It points directly to the areas you need to develop. To run from this information, to obscure it with anger or excuses, is to reject the single greatest opportunity for growth you will ever be given. You must have the courage to look your failures directly in the eye, to thank them for the lesson, and to integrate that lesson into your process. This requires a profound separation of your identity from your performance. You are not your last victory. and you are most certainly not your last defeat. You are the person who is on the path of mastery, and on that path both wins and losses are simply signposts. They are feedback. They are not your destination. When you can lose a major championship or fail to get a huge promotion, and the very next day, wake up and get back to your silent, disciplined practice with a quiet sense of purpose, you have achieved a level of emotional freedom that very few people will ever know. You have become anti-fragile. Setbacks no longer break you. They make you stronger. You have understood that the real game is not played on any external field. The real game is the one played within, and in that game, there are no losses, only lessons. Effortless action. We have a deep-seated belief that winning requires more effort, more struggle, more tension. We believe we have to try harder. We clench our fists, grit our teeth, and try to force the outcome we desire. But think of the greatest athletes, artists, or thinkers you have ever seen. When they are at their absolute peak, do they look like they are struggling? Or do they look like they are in a state of grace, a state of flow? They move with a kind of liquid efficiency. There is no wasted motion, no inner conflict. Their actions seem to happen through them, not by them. This is the state of Wu Wei, a Taoist concept that translates roughly to effortless action, or inaction that is not inaction. It's the idea that you can become so proficient, so in tune with your craft and your environment, that the right action happens spontaneously, without conscious, forceful striving. It is the opposite of paralysis by analysis. It is the state where the thinking mind gets out of the way and the intuitive, trained body takes over. The basketball player is not thinking, I need to bend my knees, extend my elbow, and flick my wrist. If he were thinking that, he would be too slow. He has drilled that motion so many times that it has become a part of him. In the moment of the shot, he simply sees the hoop and lets the body do what it knows how to do. His conscious mind is quiet. His action is effortless. This is the ultimate goal of all that silent discipline, of all that process perfection. The thousands of hours of conscious, deliberate, often difficult practice are designed to build the foundation for future moments of unconscious, effortless performance. You do the hard work so that, when it matters most, the work becomes easy. You struggle in the gym so that on the field you can flow. You study for years so that in the exam the answers come to you. The striving and the struggle happen in the preparation, not in the performance. To bring that feeling of struggle and forceful effort into the performance itself is to poison it. So how do you cultivate this? It comes from trust. You must trust the work you have put in. You must trust your body. You must trust your intuition. You have to let go of the obsessive need to consciously control every little detail in the moment of truth. You practice control in the dojo, in the gym, in the library. Then in the arena, you practice letting go. You surrender to the moment. You become an observer of your own skilled performance. It's a paradox. The greatest control comes from a form of surrender. When you stop trying to win and instead allow the win to emerge from your trained state of being, you access a power that is far beyond the reach of brute force and anxious effort. You find the art of winning by letting go of the need to win. Inner victory. We have arrived at the center of the labyrinth. After all this talk of winning and losing, of process and practice, we come to the final, most important truth. The only victory that truly matters is the one that happens inside you long before the game even begins. It is the victory over your own mind. It is the attainment of a state of such profound inner peace and self-possession that the external world and its chaotic results can no longer shake you. This is the real trophy. Everything else is just a temporary reflection of this inner state. If you win the inner game, the outer game takes care of itself. And even if it doesn't, it no longer has the power to define you or destroy your peace. This inner victory is a state of being. It is the quiet confidence that comes not from arrogance, but from a deep knowing of the work you have put in. It is the silence of the ego. It is the ability to walk into the arena, the boardroom, or onto the stage, completely present, unburdened by the need for a specific outcome. You are already whole. You are already complete. The performance is not a desperate attempt to prove your worth. It is a joyful expression of the mastery you have cultivated. You are there to dance your dance, to play your song, to engage in your craft. The result is secondary. The act itself is the reward. When you have achieved this state, you are immune to the pressures that crush others. The roar of the crowd, the expectations of your peers, the fear of failure, these things become like distant weather patterns. You can observe them, but they do not touch the core of who you are. You operate from a center of unshakable calm. This is the source of all clutch performance. It is why some people seem to rise to the occasion while others crumble. The ones who rise are the ones who have already won the war inside their own heads. The external challenge is just an opportunity for them to demonstrate the peace they have already found. So forget the desperate chase for trophies, for applause, for external validation. That is a fool's errand, a path of endless hunger and dissatisfaction. Turn your gaze inward. The true art of winning is the art of self-mastery. It is the daily practice of quieting the ego, of embracing resistance, of perfecting your process, and of finding joy in the silent discipline. Cultivate your inner garden. Achieve that state of profound, unshakable peace. That is the victory that no one can ever take away from you. It is the only one that lasts. This video just rewired my brain. For years I've been grinding and burning out, thinking that more hustle and more want was the answer. The idea that true winning comes from inner silence and loving the process, not the prize. That's not just motivation, that feels like a map to freedom, thank you.